Hi, everybody. DJ Yokley with you with another very special segment. This is the Coaches Roundtable extended version with Austintown Fitch head coach Seth Steiner. Coach, first off, congratulations on all the success and the continuing to be the gold standard for the track and field programs here in the Valley.
Oh, I truly appreciate that, and definitely appreciate you guys having me on and taking the time to do the extended version with me here.
You got it. So let's do a preview of your team. I mean, you guys continue to be the team that everybody looks to beat whenever you show up at meets, and obviously a team that sets the golden standard. Who are your main contributors this year?
I think we're really fortunate. We have a large group back of kids that made it into the regional meet, into the regional final, and a group of state qualifiers back. So first and foremost, we've got to talk about our boys 4x1 relay. They were all underclassmen. They were all freshmen and sophomores last year with one junior. And so that is Dan Evans, who's currently a sophomore, Brody Herman, junior, Donnie Ellis, senior, and Jaden Ely, junior. So those guys were sixth at state last year in the 4x1 relay. They're all back again. So definitely excited about those guys. And then we have some other talented guys. So you guys obviously know the name Tyler Evans. He's a big part of our football team this year on both sides of the ball. Tyler's our long jumper. He went 21-6 indoor in the long jump, which broke our indoor school record. So definitely looking for big things from Tyler. He's definitely Mr. Consistent, Mr. Hard Worker. Huge personality as far as leadership goes. So we're excited for Tyler as well. And then we got some of our throwers back. You didn't hear much from Jamel James last track season and football season due to injury. But Jamel is back and healthy and looking great. He's lean, he's strong, he's fast. So Jamel is going to throw the shot and disc for us, and so will DJ Williams. So I think a lot of times what's weird, when you get those football guys, especially from the running back position, they tend to be your sprinters. And for us, those guys are good sprinters, but they're also really good throwers. So they're just powerful guys, and we feel like they could do some damage deep into the postseason for us this year. So that's just a couple events there. We have some hurdlers back too. We have Nick Tabola. Jaden Ely also hurdles for us. He's going to kind of pull some double duty this year between the 100 dash and the high hurdles. We're going to kind of dabble in both with him. And I'm trying to think who else. Adam Emmerich, senior high jumper. Brody Herman, junior high jumper. Our distance crew this year is going to be led by Logan Spreck. Logan went 4:39 or 4:38 in the mile indoor, so we're excited about him. We had another miler in Brogan Roby. He opened up the season at 4:34 indoor. Unfortunately for him, he got injured. I think he's going to miss our outdoor season, but he is a junior, so we'll have him back next year. So that's just a preview of some of the older guys. Also have a couple young guys coming in, like Justin Solly is a great 800 guy. We're excited to have Justin. And so that's kind of the brief version of our boys' side of team.
I mean, that's amazing to be able to list that many contributors to a season, and even losing some, the future still looks bright for years to come for Austintown Fitch. All right, so now I'm going to ask you the tough question that I think. To be able to sit in your strengths and weaknesses, right? So as well as I do, when you sit in an interview, they ask you what's your biggest weakness. I'm going to ask you what's your biggest challenge for this year, and on the flip side of that, what do you think is going to be what your team hangs their hat on this year from the track and field standpoint?
So I think our biggest challenge this year is being competitive enough at the highest level. So last year we set the bar so high. We talked a lot about how can we win the regional title. We've done that one time in school history prior to this, which was 2015. We did feel like we had a shot to do it last year, and we didn't. We fell short. So the biggest question as we piece this thing together is you got to look at the top guys in Northeast Ohio, and they come together at that last week of May, and where do we stack up? And there's just so much talent that comes into that meet. I do think that we have guys that can score a lot of points, and it's going to be a lot of those borderline events, such as the 300 hurdles. We're looking at a group of guys there that we feel can all be good, but who can be that guy that can run high 38s or low 39s and score some points there. Same thing with the 400 meter dash. I think we've had solid guys there, guys that are running 51, 52, but that's really not going to score you points at the regional meet. And so we're hoping that we could get a couple guys that are, flirting with those 50 flats and maybe can squeak out a couple points there. So that's definitely the biggest challenge is looking at the bigger picture and saying, hey, like how can we build upon where we're at right now and get us to, a pretty high level at the end of the season. When the standards are high, it comes with a lot of pressure, and you always have a bullseye on your back, and every team wants to take you down, and every team is planning, how to get caught up to you, how to pass you, how to beat you. And, it definitely keeps things interesting on my end and for our coaching staff as well. Like, it's a challenge, we're being chased and we're being passed at times. And, it definitely, like I said, the challenge is what keeps things exciting for us and for our team.
Now, obviously, you're no stranger to the football program, so how nice is it to be able to utilize the football program and kind of build the track program through the off-season football program that you have at Fitch?
Yeah, that's a huge asset. There's no way around that. If we didn't have those guys and we didn't have the support, from that football staff, which I'm a part of, but we'd be a completely different team. And it's great to have all those guys out here, because they contribute in almost everything we do. The only thing that our football guys aren't contributing to us in is the distance events, and they're everywhere. The football program is also something that I hold near and dear to my heart, because I've played football since I was 6 years old.
Sure. And
to be able to come back and coach at the varsity level with one of my best friends in TJ Parker, it's great. And that also gets me away from track for a little bit. By the time we get to early June, I'm burnt. I'm burnt on track, and it's nice to be able to switch gears and get into football mode a little bit, and clear my head from track and go that route. And it's by the time football season's over, now I'm actually excited to get back into track. So it's a nice little change of pace for me. But again, back to the guys. Having so many guys out there. So we have Cam Smith, we have Tyler Evans, Jamel James, DJ Williams, Jay Neely, Donnie Ellis. The list goes on and on. And that's our team. Those guys are huge contributors. And what else I think is key is I feel like the standards and the culture within the football program is very similar to what it is in the track program. Like, the standards are high. It's a culture of accountability. And, we put time in, and if we're going to put that much time in, we want to be successful at the highest level. Time to just put time in and be mediocre that's a tough pill to swallow.
So the other night at the the round table, your name and your program came up time and time again. Seemingly, they look at all your competitors in the AAC. I mean, we kept calling it the golden standard, but your name is constantly at the top of that list. Fitch is constantly at the top of that list as being the kind of ring bearer for everybody in the AAC. What makes this conference so good and so competitive at the same time?
You know what? The coaches, when I watched that video from the round table the other night, they brought up a lot of good points. It's us pushing one another. When we first got in the AAC, I think we might have been here a year or two before Boardman. I think Boardman hung out in the Federal League for just a little bit longer than we did. But I really don't think the conference was always as good as it is now. You look at Boardman, who brought a good group of kids down to Columbus last year. Boardman, who defeated us at the conference meet last year. And all of a sudden you have Canfield, and they have one of the best distance runners in the state. And then you have Holland, who has guys, and then Warren Harding is Warren Harding. They have a prestigious program. They were the state champions in the late 2000s, or somewhere around 2010 or 12. But it is a really good conference, and you piece together that meet and you look at it and you say, wow, there's guys in every single event group that could potentially be down at Columbus. And it's a local conference with teams within a short range of one another, and you have so much talent that comes together. So it's definitely good. And like Coach Phillips mentioned, they've been doing whatever they could to close the gap on us. And last year they put together a really good meet at that conference meet. Those guys, they wanted it, and they got after it, and they accomplished what they wanted to. But that hopefully gives us a little bit more motivation to say, hey, you know what, we can't be complacent. There are teams that want to come for us, that we have a bullseye on our back. We got to keep working too.
I think that everybody has their favorite meet. When you talk about different sports, everybody has their favorite venue or game that they like to play in. Every coach in track seemingly has their favorite meet. What's the one that stands out to you and you're most excited about for this year?
So the obvious ones, you got to say, the postseason, that district, regional, state time. But as far as like the invitationals go, the Glen Oak Eagle Elite was mentioned. Coach Scott Farrell does a great job putting that thing together with great competition. And one that wasn't mentioned, and it's just kind of coming back, and on our end, it's the Austintown Early Bird. And I just want to throw that out there because we put so much work into making that a good meet. We used to run it back in the 90s and early 2000s. It kind of faded away, and we tried to bring it back from the dead. Now all of a sudden we have teams like Gahanna Lincoln coming in. We have Solon, we have Menor, we have Medina. We have the local teams. Boardman's coming, Salem's coming. So it's something that we're really excited about. We feel like it's on the opener of the spring season. It's on the very first day that you're able to hold a meet. So as long as we get some good weather like we got last year, it's a very good competitive meet that allows people to see where they stack up early in the season, and what they need to do to get better.
So what's one thing, and we'll leave this as the last question, what's one thing that needs to happen to have Austintown track and field level up this year as opposed to years before?
100%. We have to stay healthy. We have to. If we could keep our guys healthy, if we could take our lineup that we have today into the end of May, I feel really good about what we can bring to the table. Last year we had a couple injuries. We had our best hurdler last year get food poisoning. Such a sad story right before the regional meet. And, we thought he was a guy that could potentially get down to Columbus, score some points at regionals. He got food poisoning. It didn't work out. But long story short, it's health, and we're so focused on keeping our guys healthy and going into the end of the season loaded up and ready to go.
Coach, we wish you a healthy and successful season this year. Thanks for taking some time out for us here at YSN, and we look forward to doing it again very soon.
DJ, thanks a ton, man. I truly appreciate you taking the time to have me back on here.
You got it.
Yep, take care.
You too.